Welcome, everyone, to episode 300 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever, not only because it's a milestone whopping 300, but because we have drama galore. As typical fashion, breaking news happened immediately after posting the last episode, making 299. Oh, this should almost be episode 299 again, because episode 299 was pretty much null and voided an hour after posting it, thanks to our good friend Hastro dropping their CS roster after we just got done talking about it. Appreciate it, bud. And also, TenZ is a mental midget, and we'll talk about that. And, of course, e-news and reflections on 300 episodes of the best esports podcast ever. But before we get to that, let me tell you about the best esports apparel company ever in Alt. Check them out, altesports.com. You can pick up their latest collection, the Reset collection. Very clean, looks different. I would say different than their normal stuff. If you've gone to their other stuff and you go, black and white. Okay, no. This is eye-popping neon yellow hoodies, tie-dye matching hoodies, and sweatpants. You can even pick them up at your local Tilly's. So go to your shopping mall. Do so responsibly, though, of course. And you know how you do it responsibly? You pick up a Alt O2 Today mask. So you wear your Alt mask, walk into the store, flex on them, and say, I also want the Alt apparel. And they'll be like, damn, this guy is part of the Alt cult, as they say. So you can do all that. altesports.com.
Hey, this is Shroud, and you're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 300, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, January 13th, 2021. The time, 9:02 p.m. Central Time. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Our Discord link is in the description, and as well as our website, tcr.gg. Catch up on any previous interviews, anything like that through there, or our YouTube. Catch up on all 300 episodes on the website or our YouTube. Or you can follow us on Spotify, iTunes, whatever you're listening to us on right now. Make sure you smash that review button and leave us nice words. We do read them. And that's it. That's all I got. That's the entire episode. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
In typical TCR fashion, 300 will feel like 299 or 298, maybe even 297. You know? So it's all just one great episode, and this is for us it's a huge milestone. Obviously, it's just been a long journey to get here, and excited for 300, just like I'll be excited for 301, Tim.
As normal, nothing spectacular. Overpromise, underdeliver. That's our motto. We had interviews lined up, kind of fell through. Plans didn't line up. We have guests though future dated, so that's nice.
Yeah, next Monday for next Monday's episode, we got Ryan from Rush Media. So huge Counter-Strike reporter, and should be fun to have him on. So we have him coming on next episode.
Yep, we'll have Hastro on, owner of Envy, next couple of weeks here. We got pinned down a date, but we'll have him on. Really try to have Hex on this episode, but again, he's a tricky one.
He hates us.
That Hex. That Hex, he's a tricky one to get a hold of sometimes. Sometimes he's easy to get a hold of. It's just a hit and miss, really. He's busy guy. I get it. You know, he's got to make his poker. He's got to refinish his 5th game room So busy guy. One day we'll get him. But not for episode 300. 300, though, is going to be a banger of an episode. As you can see, I definitely planned ahead as I decided to redo all of my cables behind me. So I just have a messy office on the webcam if you're watching on stream. So
I think any gamer's been there. You just open up that box of a million
I mean,
cables, coax cables, RGB, stuff that you will never use again unless you're using a GameCube, on a old school TV.
Anuj, it's too far out of reach right now. I'm going through these box of cables. Like you said, separating HDMIs because they're still somewhat relevant, but everything else is pretty much going, right? So if you've ever dreamed of having a DVI cable owned by a host of the #1 esports podcast and you need it, hit me up. Or if you want a brand new, still in the package, RYG? What's the red, yellow?
Red, yellow, green.
Yeah, but it's white. I forget what that cable's called. It's so
If
old.
you need some, you know what? This is actually 300 is the perfect episode for a giveaway. And so if you tweet us and you say, "Give me your old cables, Tim," first person to do that,
Gets them
Tim
all.
will send you everything
You
that he
get
has in that
them
box behind him.
all. I have I have a brand new, still in the package, Xbox 360 like connection to the TV. Why it's been in a box for years, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of it. Maybe I was like, well, you never know when you'll get another Xbox 360, so I should probably hold on to this one.
So
But
somebody out there is listening and is like, "Damn, I really need that." Hit us up.
I have been looking everywhere for an Xbox 360 TV connector. I'm your guy. I have that. I have brand new in the package, never used. Lucky
You know
you.
what, Tim, for anyone that does respond to that, you should throw in one of your Funko Pops.
I have that box behind me full of them. I absolutely despise them. Somehow I ended up with a ton of them, and I hate them. I hate them so much. So yes, I have the next week off. If everything goes to plan, baby number 2 won't be here yet. I'm getting rid of like all of it. All of it's just going away. So there you go. Enough about that though, Nuge, because we have a lot to get to. First off, show news, community game night this weekend, Saturday. Last episode we said it might be Friday or Saturday. Official Saturday, 9 p.m. I might be on a smidge early. We might be on a smidge early, but you're not late unless it's 9:01. So get there, 9 p.m. we'll start.
Central Time,
10 p.m. Eastern, and figure it out from there. One day we'll have a esports time where we can just say a time and everyone knows what we mean because it's esports time.
we're getting on Saturday night.
Saturday night,
That's esports time.
unless you're Australia. That's like Sunday afternoon, right?
They've probably been drinking enough Saturday night. They wouldn't
They're
know
like
the
17
difference.
hours ahead. So yes, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern. Right now, the plan is to Valorant privates or pug stomp. So that's the plan. New heroes out, new act, new patch. We want to hit the ground running with that. So Valorant, it's free to play. If you suck, don't worry. We typically we mix up the teams enough to where it's pretty much even. Someone has a hard carry on each one. Very low stress. So hit us up. We'll run private rooms for Valorant. Get Jackbox involved if we have enough people wanting to do that. We'll figure it out. It's pretty fluid. So if you want to be part of the game night, that's this Saturday, 9 p.m. Central. Other than that, that's all the show news I got. So anything else? Did we discuss anything else that I'm forgetting?
No, I think that's it.
I think so. I think you're right. So of course
That'll be the 300 celebration.
Yeah. Yes, that's the 300. That's the hey, congratulations on 300 episodes type of thing. So join us for that. It's also like my last hoorah before having 2 kids. So cuz
That's like your last game night.
Starting to think 2 kids will be a little bit more time consuming than 1.
Yeah, I'm glad it took you a while to come to that realization because you probably would have been more stressed out a few months ago.
Like
So it's good
five
that you waited
days,
till the end.
it's now setting in. Like 5 days
Yeah.
before, I'm like, oh man, might have to.
Can I tell you something funny before we start?
Please do.
So yesterday I'm doing a raid. This is WoW related, guys. Yesterday I'm doing a raid in WoW. I joined a pug for the raid. We're doing a heroic North castle. The guy that's running the raid decides to have his video on in Discord. So we're all like, it's kind of
Awkward.
weird because like it's like
Awkward.
not normal in a pug,
Like
right? And
no
so
one else has their video on.
nobody,
Why?
just this one guy.
That's
So
the guy at your work Zoom meeting where he has his camera on, but no one else does, and you're like,
like nobody else does,
why do
right?
you? Why?
So I'm like sitting there and I see him in the video and he's a cool guy for the most part. And he goes, "Hey, does anybody want to see my pet iguana?" Like in the middle of the raid, we just downed a boss, second boss, and he's anyone want to see my pet iguana? And everyone was like, "Okay, like sure, let's see the pet iguana." This dude brings out like 4 foot iguana. I mean, this thing was massive.
Just
And on top of that, he held it up in front of the screen, like right in front of his camera, and it shit right on his
oh.
computer, like right on his keyboard. And you heard the right on it. Like you could just see it come out. And it was
I had no idea iguanas had such powerful shits.
like you heard the splat, probably because it was 2 feet away from his mic, because he literally like held it up like this on the camera, and then boom, you just saw it shit because he held it up high enough and you saw it drop out. We're all like, did he just crap? The guy's like, yeah, I'm gonna need a few minutes here. So we had a 15-minute hold while this guy's
Well,
cleaning up
at least it wasn't a
iguana shit
mythic,
on his
right?
keyboard.
Raids aren't timed, so take
No, it's not
take your
timed.
time. Take a
Just a
bio
waste
break.
of time, Tim. That's all that was.
Just do a bio break here. No,
That's
hey,
never
you're
happened to me in my 20 years of WoW, so I thought I should share that with the world because that was a first.
yeah, I've never had that one. That's a new one for me on WoW.
Mhm.
At least the group was cool about it.
Everyone was having a good
People
time.
have
man.
no chill on WoW. None whatsoever. Especially as like me, I'm so casual on WoW when it comes to like the dungeons and the setups, and they're like, hey man, do you know the what's it called?
Mechanics?
The mechanics of this boss? And I'm like, no. And they're like, but your Raider.io says you've ran this thing like 10 times. Yeah, I know.
I just never paid attention.
I normally
I
zone
watch
out
a video
about,
right before the fight every single time
Right.
just to give me a quick
I
heads up of
normally
what's going
zone
on.
out maybe at the third pull. I don't know any mechanics. And even then, like half the YouTube videos are like, well, you need to stand in the hands. Bro, I've watched like 4 YouTube videos. None of them tell me to stand in the hands. All of them say to avoid the hands. So why would I assume now I stand in them? It's like, buddy, we're running a +2. We're running a +2, about 2 months behind everyone else. Do you think I'm a man who worries about the mechanics? No.
I'm just trying to stay alive.
I'm just a gamer dad trying to have a chill time. So chill out, okay? I'm also the tank, so you bow to me, okay? I could
You'd
leave
be
here.
nice. I could ruin this very quick.
Yeah, I could leave and you wait another 20 minutes. How about that? So, wow, no chill, but fun game. All right. So then, let's get into the beef of episode 300. Let's follow up with last episode because again, in typical TCR fashion, we spend an hour talking about a topic and then no joke, hours after posting it, I look on Twitter and everything we just talked about is completely useless. Like
null and void very quick.
You even asked, should we just delete the episode? And I'm like, I guess no, it's just the nature of the beast, right? Like
I was like, none of this. All this, like, I tried to be a little defensive in support of our guys out at Envy. And, I was trying to at least trying to make that other point, right? Like the other side of the argument here. And I was like, yeah, I should have just shut the hell up. Should have just not said a word. And I would have been better off.
the next
So,
time
yeah,
I need to just text Mike and be like, Mike, I'm about to defend you on this. Just let me know. Are you about to drop this entire roster?
Oh, if you don't think I will text him directly next time before we do a show regarding an Envy, like one of their teams, damn well no, I'm gonna shoot him a text and ask now.
Now our points last episode, I think those still stand.
There's still valid points in terms of
Right.
how much you want to invest into a scene
Yeah. So
that
for those who
doesn't
don't
pay
know,
dividends necessarily.
yeah, for those who don't know, Envy, the team that we were talking about last episode, about not wanting to spend money and everything here, ended up dropping their CS roster. So that's what you need to know. Their entire CS team is gone for the foreseeable future. They did say, like, we're not done with CS, but we're just going to wait for the right opportunity. So take that
What
for
does it
what you
do
will.
for like their flashpoint spot?
That's what I don't know. So they are on Flashpoint, which is 90% of the reason why I thought there's no way they're going to drop the roster, because they just spent $2 million to have a franchise spot, if that's what you want to call it, with Flashpoint. But clearly, Flashpoint is also in such a disarray that wasn't even worth it to Envy to hold on to. Like, look, I know you have this like sign of franchise set up league with roster spots and everything, but even this is such a mess. Like, it's not even worth having a subpar Counter-Strike team in. So drop that. I assume they're going to sell off the spot. Like, that's right.
Is that even how? I don't even know if that's how it works.
Well, that's
Honestly,
what
like, maybe they.
Fun Plus Phoenix and everything, right? Wasn't there an issue with that a little bit ago? Remember that?
I mean, if you're selling off that spot, let's be real, you're selling that at a huge discounted rate. This is like Immortals going back to Hex,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
I mean, I think
you are gonna get a hell of a deal because nobody in their right mind right now is gonna pay 2 million for a flashpoint spot.
maybe we'll
Half the
buy it.
teams are like non-existent. Yeah, I mean, it's just the league is in disarray at the moment. And
So let's
from
do
what I
this.
said,
Let's get with Nate at Alt and offer like
like
10K.
free merch
Yeah, like a free box of Dallas Empire hoodies.
with a little bit of reset gear thrown in.
Yeah, we'll get you the new lineup of clothes, hot off the shelves. 101 Burglars hoodie and some Dallas Empire shirts.
It's still one of those things where they can obviously buy back in, right? Like he
Yeah.
mentions that in his statement that they still have a larger budget for CSGO this year than they've had in previous years. So the opportunity to pick up a team is still there. I just don't know how long we're going to wait. And like I said last week, Tim, like it was still better to have them involved in CS than to not have them at all. So for
Right.
all the people that are out there, you know, cheering at this decision. I mean, it's just another big org that's not involved with Counter-Strike now,
Right.
at least at the moment.
And look, and I know a lot of people were having fun at their expense on Twitter because obviously the timing of it looked awful. And I know Hastro was probably like, God damn it. Like, this is going to make us look like morons because they've already been planning it before the Decay tweets. Like this has already been in motion. They told their guys a week ago, so a week before the Decay stuff was going on Twitter, that, hey, we're going to be dropping the roster. But then Decay, that whole drama started, so it looks like they just got beat into submission and dropped the team within 48 hours. That's not how that works. That's not how it worked. But it does look that way, and it looks terrible. But that being said, the point still stands. They aren't willing to spend the money on top rosters because it's not worth it. And so they ended up just dropping the roster, which is still, like you said, Anuj, like people are saying like, haha, so funny. While Chaos is still there, that's a good opportunity, or blah, blah, blah. Look, there are opportunities to get better players than what was on Envy. We all know that's not hard. Like, Envy was a struggling out of top 30 team. Like, it's not hard to find better players. Give Anuj and I a week, we'll be better players. Like, not difficult. The point is, though, and I'm going to use this guy's tweet to make my point. And I wish I would have saw this prior to last episode, but I'm okay because it gives us the opportunity to talk about it now. The GM for Triumph, don't even know his name. The GM for Triumph, okay, ends up tweeting saying like, I really respect Envy. They're a cornerstone and a blueprint to how to run an org in CS. However, and then he goes on this little, rant, I guess you could say.
Blast them at that point right after.
Yes, right. It's one of those, like, I don't want to offend you, but, and then he says, like, you go from there being a blueprint to you don't know what you're doing, right? And he says, well, Triumph was able to build a solid franchise, a solid fan base, and still beat teams like Liquid and Cloud9. First off, who would have thought anyone would have used Cloud9 as an example of, we beat you in 2020? Like, bro, that might not be one of the skins on the wall you want to point at, right?
There's not going to be anything in the trophy case for that one.
No, you went bass fishing and now you're taking a picture of a goldfish. Like, not what you want. But I get it. Your Triumph, you're going to brag about beating Cloud9, I guess. And then he's like, and we've been able to compete at a high level, blah, 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 and basically pumping up Triumph's thing. And I saw this because Decay retweeted it. And then he's like, it's not about the money. It's about the passion. And he's like, and we did all this while breaking even. That's what he said. It's Triumph did all this, broke even, haven't made money on it. It's not about the money, though. It's about the passion. Time out. That's the dumbest thing I've heard, Anuj. My jaw dropped when I read this, thinking like, are you like some high school football coach giving your team a pep talk before a big game? Guys, remember this. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about the fight. You got to go and give it your all. It's like, that's what your coach tells you, right? It's not about the journey. It's about the friends you made along the way. Well, no, because I flew first class and Anuj hitchhiked across the country. So I'd say it's a bit about the journey. I think I had a pretty good journey in first class, right? I couldn't believe that was something coming out of a guy's mouth who was Triumph is an okay org. An okay org. Let's not...
Who does not have a Counter-Strike team anymore. Who broke even.
Like,
that's not what this is about. It's not about breaking even.
Right. Well, that's
not the goal for most organizations.
That's like Hastro's point, is the fact that, we're not here to break even. Like, this is a business. We have to make profit. And if we're breaking even, first off, Triumph, if you go to HLTV's rankings right now, ranked 28th in the world. So you're going to break even? You're telling him, hey, spend the money, break even. It's okay to be what? 28th best in the world? Good luck going to like your investors and explaining that to them.
Once again, Triumph does not have a team right now.
Like,
so it's like,
that's the point I think that we were trying to make and he was trying to make, and that people are just forgetting. Like, you can't just break even in Counter-Strike or in life and expect to like run a sustainable business. It was a most ridiculous comment to say.
It's just one of those things where he just wanted to get into the conversation, right?
That was him pumping up their tires to be like, look, guys, what we did. And then it's like, but you mentioned you broke even. Like, that's the whole point that people are trying to make on why it's not worth spending the money in Counter-Strike, because you're either breaking... And look, in business, there is no such thing as break even. You either are profitable or not.
Break even. Like, so you can break even in Counter-Strike and it could still be worth your time if you're like breaking even and like winning, right? And it's helping your brand. NV CSGO was not helping Envy's brand as a whole. If anything, it's really hurt them just with all the stuff that's gone on over the past year, right? With the roster changes, the whole Nifty drama of him having like the amount of, we don't know whether this was true or not, but the rumors of the amount of power that he had over the roster and the decisions that were made. Like, ultimately, this wasn't helping their brand. So if you're going to operate at a loss, it's got to be worthwhile. Like, it can't be affecting your brand in a negative way. And I think, unfortunately, that's really all that NVCSGO has done over the last year and a half, 2 years, or whatever it's been now, is it's really done nothing positive for the brand. So the move makes sense. I hate to see it. I hate to see Envy not involved with CSGO. I hope they're back sooner than later. I'm assuming because of the $2 million investment within Flashpoint, they will come back, hopefully again sooner rather than later. But look, guys, like, I know Chaos's name has been thrown out like 50 times in this conversation. If Chaos is asking for top dollar, I don't know what they're asking for, but let's just assume they're asking for a pretty hefty salary because this is their time to cash in, they feel,
Right.
right? Like they've kind of played well, they've proven themselves to a certain extent, so this is their time to cash in. If I'm an owner, am I looking to pay top dollar for Chaos? Like, is that the roster that's going to take me to the next level? Better than their previous roster? Yes, I know, I agree. But like, is that really where you want to throw your next, 1.5 million a year?
Well, and
You
also
know,
like look at from their scenario where you're gonna pay top dollar, or at least let's say top 10% dollar, right? Because I know some people are like, well, Chaos is asking for a discounted amount. Okay, well, I don't know what that discounted amount is, but like you said, sure, it's still a decent amount. Then you're going to pay that much for them to compete at the moment with NACS. Now, after Corona, post Corona life is completely different story. Or, right? Because let's be real, not to kick Triumph in the nuts right now, but if Corona wasn't a thing, you wouldn't have been invited to half the events that they were invited to.
yeah, they wouldn't have been invited to any of those. Those all would have been LAN events, and you're absolutely right. That would have been EU taking a majority of those spots with a couple of NA teams trickled in. You would have never had these all NA tournaments. Now, on the flip side, that's a good thing that some of these teams had an opportunity to prove
Right.
themselves and show that they could play. But still, at the end of the day, Triumph has released half of their roster after all of this good luck that took place for them, right?
So if you're going to
So
pay for a team like Chaos to make it worth the money, you almost have to then send them over to Europe to compete in those bigger tournaments for the bigger prize money and more eyeballs on there. So now not only are you paying a salary, probably more money than what you were spending on your previous one, even though Nifty apparently made a stupid amount of money for his production. And now you're also spending money to send them to Europe and set up shop there. Like it it's a lot more than just, oh, we'll just pay these guys. And even though Triumph can say, well, look, guys, we did this again, the caveat is you broke even. So it's like passion is something like, yeah, I get it. Passion is important, but passion doesn't pay the bills. Passion doesn't keep the lights on. You gotta have a little bit more reason than just, well, look, Anuj, you and I have passion. You and I would love to own a Counter-Strike team, right? Like the center ring would be top Counter-Strike brand. But that's not what's stopping us from doing it.
yeah, not the passion. It's not holding us back. Now, again, there are instances where putting your money into CS is worth it to operate at a loss, right? But those are far and few in between, right? Like there's FaZe Clan, probably good for them to be involved in CS. G2, Cloud9 coming back. Like these are staple brands. Envy is as well, but I think for them, they operate more like a traditional business. Like that's just how they've kind of turned
They've
themselves since they
always
made
been
the
that
move
way.
to Dallas. And um, you can't blame them for that strategy. I mean, you look at a lot of the teams that have dropped out of CS, there's reasons that there's very few true NA orgs. Like it's just they're not the only ones. Unfortunately, in this instance, this whole scenario, like this whole situation just looks bad for them. Like you're right.
Yeah.
Like the timing really couldn't have been worse. I mean, I'm sure that conversation last week between Hastro and Decay, you're right. They were probably sitting there in the office and they were like, shit. Like it doesn't matter if we postpone this 1 week or 3 weeks. All of this stuff is going to get retweeted. All of these things are going to be headlines. Let's just do this all at once and rip this band-aid off. But the timing was poor. You feel for those guys, but it's not like they didn't have a chance. Like Nifty has been on that roster for a long time, and unfortunately, production never showed up. And as nice as a guy as Nifty is, and as much as you want to build a team around somebody like that that's so dedicated, like results are everything. And Envy just could not get them. Like they could not perform. Um, and now here we are. Like this was it seemed like the next logical step if they didn't make huge roster moves. And um, look, those options weren't necessarily the right options for them right now. So here we are. No more NVCSGO.
Nope. We'll see. We'll see what's next for them. You know, what's even available when they decide to get back in, if they decide to get back in, because you got to assume, like, because everyone is right? Chaos is kind of your best option. Former Chaos is kind of your best option for NA. But now for other teams, Nifty is available. Has his time at Envy hurt his name? Because you got to remember, when he joined Envy, he was the bee's knees. Like, moving over from Renegades, he's going back to NACS. Like, he was a hot commodity coming into it. So has this time kind of hurt his stock?
100%.
Yeah, Captain Obvious says yes, right? Like, I would say this really hurt his stock as far as, you know, where he could go. Because when he left Renegades, I'd have to imagine he could have joined the likes of Liquid, right? If they had the spot available and things like that. But it was...
Yeah, no, he's, you know, I'm sure he can find another team, but I wouldn't say he's going to like any top 5 orgs anytime soon, right? Like, he's going to have to build his brand back up because he had that amazing run with Renegades, and you know, some of those moments of him with the op, even on like Cash, there's some like iconic plays that Nifty was able to make with the wall bangs and some of those plays that he had. But that seems like a long time ago. Like a long, in fact, that Renegades roster is on its 4th roster since then. You know, like now going to the Extremum or whatever, you know, the Russian organization is. So that was a long time ago. Nifty's going to have a lot of work to do. You know, the rest of the guys are probably going to go back to Europe and see what their options are. They'll probably have more available to them over there. But yeah, tough all around. You hate to lose an org like that in CS:GO, and I guess now we just wait and see when they return and how they return.
And Arcus says in Twitch chat, doesn't nearly every esport team in the world operate at a loss? I thought the goal was long-term exposure for most brands. From that point of view, breaking even would be a good sign. I would say yes, if you're like a top-tier org that can turn around that exposure into profit, like with merch sales or sponsorship deals. NVCS was not in a position to they've already tried outlasting for that long-term exposure, right? And it just blew back in their face because they never had the performance to, like, they kind of were already in a deep enough hole to where if they just spent more money, if it didn't work out, then they'd be in an even deeper hole.
And look, Envy is making their money in other areas, right? And they're getting their exposure in other areas. If this was like one of Envy's 2 or 3 teams, I would say this is like a terrible move to exit because now you're losing all that exposure within the CS:GO team. But let's not forget that Envy has a World Championship Call of Duty team, a World Championship Rocket League team. They have an FGC champion. I mean, Tim, you could probably name off a couple. I'm drawing blank. They have an Overwatch League franchise, which that's, you know, let's take that for
Not a
what it is.
champion.
But they have that, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is they're involved and invested in a lot of different areas of esports.
Yeah.
So it's probably not as big of a need for them to stay in Counter-Strike like it would be, you know, some of these other teams out there. There are plenty of teams that use that CS:GO exposure to turn it, flip it, and make it good for them long term. This has really just hurt Envy. You know, like all their CS:GO roster has done has brought on a negative perception to their organization, and they have all these positives hitting them from every other angle, right? Like Call of Duty, amazing for them. Even their Overwatch fan base. I know if you're not from the Dallas area, you might not know this as much, but like Envy is a Fuel, Dallas Fuel is like loved. You know, the way that the way that they make their fan experiences when there were LAN events. There's just so much appreciation for them. So I think they're getting that exposure in different areas, and that's why they're comfortable, you know, making this move. They don't feel like it's hurting them. As for the Nifty back to COD, that would be awesome to see. It will never happen, but that would really be, damn. You talk about a ball buster move. I would love to see it.
Let's be real. He's going to Valorant. Let's.
You know what, Tim? Like that. Not the worst idea at this point.
Let's be real. You got enough opportunity there because he could always join Cloud9. He could always join Cloud9 because the last I heard, Cloud9 Valorant does have an open roster spot. But before we continue with that amazing segue by this professional show host. Got to give a shout out to Philly Esports, new partner of the show. If you saw on Twitter earlier today, gave us a monster dono, $300 for episode 300. Philly Esports, you are nuts.
You are joking.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone in chat, give them a 1G. I don't know if we don't really have anything unique.
If you're sub to Summit, throw that 1G in the chat for Philly Esports and Adam. Dude, this partnership has got us so excited. And is this the spot? We're not doing the spot here for them, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So we can just talk about them for a brief moment
Yeah.
before we go into our segue. Love these guys. This is going to be an amazing sponsorship and a partnership, I should say, and the opportunity to work with them long term and have something fluid and a way to bounce ideas off of one another. This is just such an amazing group to work with, and we really couldn't be more thrilled to have them as part of the show. And look, if you're looking for a good dude in esports, I think I know a nomination for next year's good dude. Adam is that guy, and we're blessed to be able to work with him and call him a friend at the same time. So monster donation, dude. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much. That's massive. Really, really appreciate that.
Yep. Ditto. Everything he just said. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you. All right, so let's get back into the show here. We have, again, vacant roster spot with Cloud9 Valorant. You're probably saying, but why? They were doing okay. Who did they drop? What fifth roster spot did they drop? Well, the thing is, TenZ and Friends is no more. For those who have maybe not have opened up Twitter in the last 24 hours, TenZ, that's right, TenZ, TenZ, has decided to step down from the active roster to focus on content creation. Now, he did mention, though, Anuj, maybe when LAN comes back after this whole COVID thing going on, he might look back at to continuing professional play. So I will say this. Can I say one thing before we get... I'm getting fired up. I can feel myself getting fired up.
I see like you're getting a little flush.
Like the gears are turning. The gears are turning a lot faster than the mouth is wanting to move. Let me say this, okay? As a human, I get it. You look, take care of your chickens, as Marshawn Lynch said, and I 100% approve. If your heart is in content creation and you feel like that is the better fit for your future, I can't knock you on the decision, okay? Let's say, okay, Tim supports it. He's not saying...
This is the positive side from Tim that you're getting.
Yes.
Guys, this script is about to flip very fast, okay? So this is good, Tim. You're about to see bad.
I 100% support his decision to better his life if he feels like this is the right way to do it. That being said, you mental midget, I saw this news and got so mad, I immediately called you to yell at someone about it. I couldn't believe it. Now, take away my Cloud9 fanboyism, right? Obviously, love Cloud. I feel like I am a part of the team and he abandoned us. I'm going to use us in this sense because TenZ is a once-in-a-lifetime talent, as we've seen. One of the top 5 players, not just NA Valorant, but I would dare say Valorant, right? The meme of TenZ and Friends wasn't a meme just because he was the first signed for the org. It's a meme because he carried that team like Simple carries Na'Vi. It is unbelievable what we are losing with TenZ just walking away from professional play. And you know what that tells me? He did something similar with CS, not to a T because he was benched by Cloud9 and then decided to step down from the active roster. But the fact that he's doing it again with Valorant, going directly from active roster to benching himself to focus on content, the guy has no backbone when it comes to the competitive drive. He has no you want to talk about passion? no passion to be a pro. I don't give a damn what he says. I don't care if it's because of COVID or if things are just slow and we weren't performing as well. So you have one bad outing in First Strike and you're done? You're just done? And you're going to have the nerve to tell orgs that you're going to come back during LAN when all this dust settles from COVID? Bro, I wouldn't sign you for $1 on my team. I wouldn't sign you for a free hoodie. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm here to sign professionals. I'm here to sign players who want to play and want to win, not pug stomp. You want a pug stomp? Go make a YouTube video. But I'm here for players who want to be here and win, not to quit after one bad event. Like, I get that he's young and maybe he just can't handle the pressure. But bro, what a joke.
Can I just say ditto?
Like,
You did? No, this was like very shocking, but at the same time, like not really. Like you said, we saw this happen in Counter-Strike to similar style. Like he got benched in that scenario, but I also think part of that benching was due to like lack of drive and commitment to wanting to be a pro, not because he's not skilled or talented enough to be on an active roster in CS. Then you make the move over to Valorant and you kind of get declared NA #1, right? Maybe you and Wardell, or name one or two other people that could maybe fall into that mix, Drone, a couple of these guys, right? But you're clearly one of the best. The game is in its infancy. It's taking off. You're on one of the best rosters. We haven't hit LAN. For the most part, good performances, right? Like you said, First Strike being the one true disappointment for them.
right.
And you call it quits. And I get it, like to a certain extent, maybe you'll make more money. I just want to say this about the content creation side. Maybe you'll make more money on the content creation side right now. I also want to say that my guess is the reason you have so many viewers, active viewers right now when you're playing Valorant is partially because you're one of the best Valorant pros. You're playing on a big organization. You're one of the best players out there. Your stream is going to be significantly more hot than it was. Look at what your numbers were before you made this move. That should give you some sort of indication. There will be some carryover. A lot of these people will still follow them and watch, but it's like, for how, like, you're gonna just kind of run that dry, and then when it starts running dry, now you're gonna make your move back to like the pro scene. You're right. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Like I really wouldn't. I would have no interest in bringing somebody onto my team that like doesn't want to compete. Like you have to want to compete. You don't always have to win, but I
Right.
gotta know your heart and your head is in the game. And I don't know if anybody will ever feel like that about him after the decision. A lot of people compared him to Shroud. This is not a Shroud situation at all. Shroud put in years of work on Cloud9, multiple failures, so much scrutiny, but built his brand up through his play, through his willingness to give 100% effort. You would never say Shroud is not giving it his all when he was out there. They didn't have the results that they wanted,
Right.
but dude, you talk about time that was put in. I mean, Shroud went through 2 years of ups and downs, maybe even longer with Cloud9 before making his move to streaming. And that was a very different situation to me than somebody who's put in like 3 months of playing and has done this in 2 different stints with C9 on CS and now Valorant, and has just up and called it quits.
Yeah.
To move on and try something different.
When Shroud left Cloud9, like from a fan's perspective, it was almost like we apologized to him for not getting it done. It was almost like, hey, thank you for your time. Sorry, it just didn't work out. You're always Cloud9 to us.
People were ready for that transition at some point, right? Because like I mentioned, you've given it everything, and you knew, like, people weren't upset with Shroud.
No.
Because they knew he genuinely like gave it everything he had, and look, it just didn't work out. Like it didn't happen, right? This does not feel like that at all.
This feels like a betrayal of trust. This was C9 signed TenZ and built the roster around him, trusting that, hey, we're going to give you the keys to the org here, right? Like, you have the keys to the roster, figure it out. Now you have Cloud9, which, depending on which site you're looking at, is the top 6 team for NA with 3 players, because you got to remember they dropped their IGL with Shinobi last month, about a month ago. So now you are missing an IGL, and you just lost top 5 talent in the league, in the game.
So now you go offer Nifty a contract to make the move over.
You call Nifty, you call X Chaos, you call anyone on that CS side, and do whatever you need to get them over. This is not about passion at this point. This is about the checkbook. You throw the checkbook at them. Okay, I've been told it's easy. You just spend more money and then you can get them. So
I mean, essentially, he quit, right? Like, that's what we're calling.
he's
That's
quitting.
what this is.
This is not him retiring. This is not him stepping down. This is not him just taking one for the team. TenZ quit on Cloud9.
Yeah,
100%.
Like, this was it's just shocking. I mean, nobody saw it coming, and I think you can see that from the reaction from not only most of the fan base, but I saw a lot of commentators. Friend of the show Dust was very vocal about it here on Twitter. There's quite a few people out there that are just really surprised and kind of flabbergasted by the move, including us. You can tell by our reaction that it's just one of those things that feels like a gut punch, because you know I'm rooting for almost all of NA. It feels like in Valorant, right? I don't really necessarily have a favorite team. I'm just kind of rooting for NA to be better than EU, and it feels like a gut punch, right? Like, we took one to the gut. For you, it hits home a little bit more, obviously, with the Cloud9 tie-in there, but a shocking move, disappointing move. I feel like he's a quitter. That's what I'm going to take away from it. I wish him all the best in his streaming career. I hope his content creation goes great. I really don't wish ill will on him. I just think this was like a quitter mentality move to me. Like, that's what I take away from it. And that's how I'll feel about him, right? Like, I don't know if that's the overall consensus, but it does not leave a good taste in my mouth seeing somebody walk away like that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how anyone, unless you're just a TenZ simp, right? Unless you're just a simp for the guy, and
You can't say that anymore.
it's okay. I don't think Twitch is watching us. What are they gonna do? Take away our sub button? It's one of those things where, unless you're just one of those happy-go-lucky people where, oh well, you can't judge him for his decision, right? Who are you to judge? Well, I think, given the fact that he's in the public eye and we are a talk show, that gives me the right to judge. And it's like I said, I understand the reasoning on, well, hey, I can make more money doing content, so that's what I'm going to do. I get that, right? You got to chase the paper. But that doesn't make it any less of a quitter on the competitive side of things. I don't give a damn that he's making YouTube videos. I don't. Like, I liked TenZ. I followed him on Twitch because he was one of the best in Valorant. Now, I don't even want to watch the guy's content. Like, you're a streamer now. I want to watch a pro. I don't want to watch the best beer league player out there, right? Like, people are like, he's got a 95% win in Valorant, like in the ranked playlist matchmaking. Great. The dude's pug stomping. He's dominating beer league right now. Like, he's a rec league all-star at this point in my eyes.
And what prevents you from doing content creation, I guess, when you're a pro player? Like, is it the time investment? I'm assuming he's getting paid a pretty penny from Cloud9. He could probably hire somebody or have somebody within Cloud9's org help with editing or whatever it may be. I'm sure those are avenues that orgs offer to their players, especially their star players. So I don't understand the need to quit to focus on that, because chances are you're just going to be streaming Valorant anyway. That's what people are watching you for. If you're going to go play Among Us or you're going to go play Fall Guys, no, not many people care to watch you do that. Now, I'm sure that, like I said, there'll be a carryover right now for, in my mind, the short term. It's just long term. Now you have to kind of rebuild your brand. Like you were known as the best in this. Now you are like a content creator, 100% full time, and so we'll again, wish him all the best. Hope it goes well. Just disappointed with the move, and I do think he's a quitter.
And now this leaves Cloud9 in a pretty awkward spot because their next match is tomorrow in the Nerd Street Gamers Winter Championship against, let me look this up. I think it's maybe Space EU, United. So they have Leaf as a sub, right? He's kind of on a tryout basis, but now this leaves him down a man. I don't know if they've even announced who's replacing TenZ at this point. I mean, maybe just the coach at this point. I don't know. But we're we're looking at he did this.
Cloud9 went from having Korean roster, all female roster, NA roster, and I think there was one more if I'm not mistaken. But like, are they down to just a team now? Like one team, a half a team?
Well, they have their female roster in Cloud9
Okay.
White. They dropped the Korean roster, and now
They have half an NA roster.
yeah.
So they've cut their rosters essentially in half at this point. They'll go find somebody. There's talent out there. There's a lot of untapped talent. If anything, it's cool because this is going to open up a spot for somebody to come in that wants it, and maybe somebody that is either not as known or somebody that's making the transition from a CS:GO or whatever other game to take this spot. But uh, it's going to hurt them. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's going to hurt them. You cannot just go out there and replace a TenZ with someone and assume they're going to be as good. Like TenZ grinds the game. Like it's all he plays. That's why I don't understand the move. Like all you're doing is playing Valorant. So um I'm very curious to see who they bring in. Chances are it is somebody from the CS:GO scene. That's what their roster is comprised of. And our Arcus in chat makes a good point about Nifty because Nifty also did play with Relics on Selfless Gaming, and there is that connection there. Again, who knows? That's just some long shot that we're throwing out there as a joke, but now he throws that tie in and it makes a little bit more sense in my head. They're going to find a CS:GO pro to bring in, though. Somebody that's on the bench or somebody that's in waiting that hasn't got their chance. They're going to swap him over. It's the only thing that seems to make sense with the way their current roster's comprised. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll at least know, tomorrow is if they're bringing in someone, right? Like I guess on the bright side, with how just the world is working now with COVID, you don't have to. They could call Nifty tonight and say, "Yo, you want to try out? Because it's tomorrow, and you don't have to worry about flight. You don't have to worry about traveling, anything like that." So
It would have been cool to wait for this event to take place because this is like the first big event of the year that we're all looking forward to, and now all of a sudden
no, he
Group
can't.
D looks a little bit weaker.
TenZ couldn't wait, Anuj. The content never stops. He needs to do that YouTube video. He needs to spend 3 hours practicing on AimLab on stream before any type of content starts. So he needs to leave now to get a head start. So there you go. I don't know what Cloud9 is doing. I went from being optimistic to just world. I mean, and the sad thing is, if you're a Cloud9 fan, I can't even talk you off the ledge right now because there is literally no one out there that they can sign that would be a replacement as far as just raw aim skill talent wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's like losing a quarterback in football.
You could hire
Right?
an
It's that
eight-year-old.
significant in that sense, right? You're losing a player that is really irreplaceable at this point in time.
You
Like it's
could
going to
you could
take a
sign an
while to.
8-year-old and he would have more of a backbone than TenZ, but he would fall behind on the skills.
I can give you a little bit of hope for you Cloud9 fans. There were some ups and downs with that roster, and it could have been the simple effect on Navi where the game gets focused around one person's play style, right? So you could still go bring in a top tier pro from CS that can aim wise probably be close to, if not right there with TenZ, but it could be a better team dynamic potentially, right? And so it'll be interesting to see who they bring in. We'll be able to kind of judge that a little bit better once they announce that. But there is a chance that maybe this works out in more of a team play type setting for them, and they can still be a very good team, if not better than what they were before.
Optimistic. I
Maybe.
like it.
Maybe.
I like it. I will take optimism.
Hmm.
Is that a word?
That is.
Optimism. I'll take optimism right now. All right. So there's that. Let's before we get into some news here. This is episode 300. So let's just reflect. You want to reflect a little bit? Just 300 episodes. That's a lot. Most esports podcasts barely get 3. And we're at 300.
Three is like even a good number, honestly, for some of them.
Some will do 3 episodes 3 months apart.
Dude, it's kind of just crazy how quick it's gone by. Like I remember celebrating 100, 200, and now here we are at 300, and it's like I still enjoy it. And I think that's the most important part is like that I have fun with it, and um we've met so many cool people, in esports because of what we're doing, right? We might not be the biggest brand in the world. We have the best listeners. We still are the best damn esports podcast, but we obviously don't have like this huge footprint within esports. But if you look at some of the people that we've got to talk to, it is like really cool to look back and be like, damn, I interviewed Crimsix and Clayster at the same time during their championship run. That's badass. I got to talk to and meet my CS:GO hero in Rambo, who now, no big deal, but like follows us on Twitter, you know? And there's just like we've had team owners from, Envy, and we've had some of the best FGC players, and we've gone to events, and there's just like so much we've got to do that I would have never got to experience, right? Not every experience has been the most pleasant one, but they've still been experiences nonetheless. Um, I would have never got to shit in the owner's box with Adam, our friends over at Philly Esports, um, at the Comcast Stadium there in Philly. And there's like just all these like cool things that we got to do, from seeing championships for some of the biggest esports to meeting some amazing players and people involved with the organizations. It's just been a lot of fun, and I'm hoping we get 300 more in. I don't know what the future holds for us, but it's been a lot of fun up until this point, and I really have like no regrets, man.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. It's like when we take that winter with the Christmas break, the holiday break, right? And it's like by the end of it, it's like I'm ready to get back to the show. We don't get a whole lot of time outside of family time to kind of just sit down and have uninterrupted discussions on what we love with esports. And you know what? If we just continue doing the show just as an excuse for that, right? That's enough for me. Like you said, though, having our listeners, having the community nights, having people get involved, that's honestly my favorite part of it, is just getting to have people appreciate, us wasting some time with them. Hasn't all been fun. We've definitely had some bumps along the road, but you've talked me down the ledge enough to where, we're
The yin and the yang thing is pretty real here. For those of you
it,
that don't know,
it really is.
it's like not even a joke because it's like almost, if not every episode, at least every other episode, I feel it. I feel it just merging in one another,
There's been
And so
plenty of times where I'm like, Anuj, I'm gonna fucking call him. I'm gonna call this guy. I'm gonna tell him what I think, and I'm gonna destroy him on the phone. And you're like, let's just give it a day. Give it a
like,
day.
let me do the talking on this one. It's happened. There's just been so many fun, like shit, dude. Like thinking about all the different things that we've also gone through, like from a negative standpoint, with bad deals that we've made, or things that we've regretted doing. Those have all been like really good life lesson like
Oh,
experiments for
100%.
us, you know? Like there's just so much that I've learned from the business standpoint that I didn't know about that's also been um really cool. But you touched on the most important part. And like, I know I'm not the most active Discord user. Okay. Sometimes Tim will tell me to go in and like just read stuff just to follow up and seeing things like you know, Canada making the trophies for us for the Timmies and people helping us edit videos and people coming up with content ideas for us. And somebody just the other day took a screenshot of me, I guess, in one of our things and made the PogChamp meme. And like there's so many people in our Discord that like are like friends, like they're not listeners of the show. They listen to the show, but that's not what I'm looking at them as. Like they become friends and people that we're like gaming with when we have a chance to game nowadays. And um that's really been the coolest part is like kind of building a community, right? Hopefully we continue to expand on it and we're always welcoming for new people to come and join. And maybe that's something fun that we talk about when we get to episode 400 of how many more people have um, been brought in or now ringers with us. But the ones that we have, I'm so appreciative of because you're so active. You're so like y'all are fun. Y'all are like genuinely good people. And that's like one of the things I'm most proud of is we're in my mind attracting the right type of audience, right? People that care, people that want to be involved in well, we love you guys for it. So this has been an amazing ride to 300. Hopefully, it has been fun for you guys to be a part of it. And look, just onwards and upwards. Like we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna keep doing this, and hopefully, it's gonna keep getting better, and the content's still fun for you guys. And if it's ever not, let us know. It's for y'all. Like this is what this is for. It's for you guys to get an hour from work, to make your commute a little bit better, to put you to sleep at night with Tim's soothing voice. Like I don't care what the reasoning is, but if you're getting some enjoyment out of it, that means the world to us, and we appreciate you guys dearly for that.
One hundo. One hundo.
Maybe one hundo and one.
101 Burglars. Check it out, altesports.com. Yeah, no, so like I said, I just love doing the show, love the listeners. Like you said, it feels weird to call them listeners just because for the most part we play with them, right? Hit them up, do WoW arenas, runs, everything like that. So, there's that. So, Arcus says in chat, TCR ASMR of Tim ranting about CSGO.
Hey, next week we'll have Ryan on.
Everyone has their kink. Everyone has their kink. So yeah, there's that. So on that note, just another reminder in case maybe you skipped the first part of the show. Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central, community night. Gonna play some Valorant. Gonna play some Jackbox if we get enough people in. Hell, maybe even.
And we're willing to tweak this, guys. You guys come.
Rocket
if you want to play
League,
something different,
whatever. Among Us. If you
play.
guys want to play Among Us, we'll play Among Us. So, whatever you guys want to do, hit us up. Fall Guys. I don't care. So we'll do that Saturday night for sure. Content will continue to roll on. I will say this. I do miss, if you want to just look and reflect back on 300 episodes, I really miss spending 12 hours in a dark arena. I know like for a while we went to so many events, it seemed like every other weekend, and we were like, this is exhausting. I'll never complain about it again. We've gone almost a full year now of not going to an event because of COVID. And that sucks because, we got to meet a lot of people there, listeners, players, content, right? That's where we got most of our content from. So things have kind of slowed down on our side, but you know what? We've continued to find ways to persevere. I know I somewhat subtly take a shot at other podcasts who might be having more backing behind them, might be a little bit more popular, but I truly do think they're trash. And, look at they're uploading content and what they're doing, and it's just not what we're doing. So we could have.
Okay, I gotta ask you before you start shitting on everybody. Or actually, maybe while we're shitting on everybody. Favorite event, least favorite event. I got to know both ends because I want to see if we're how similar are.
BlizzCon was a bucket list for me. Like
Okay.
that will be, I think still, I just to this day, I talk about BlizzCon with people. It was just I mean, it's BlizzCon, right? It was not only was it an awesome trip just in general, right? We went into the Alts office to see their operation. It's kind of
We won. USA won the World Cup.
USA won the Overwatch World Cup, right? We were there to witness that. We were there to witness the Shadowlands reveal, Diablo 4 reveal.
Oh, well, most of it.
Except for the part that aired out for the people there. Went to Disneyland on my son's first Halloween. So,
Went to saw Star Wars World.
yeah, so you know,
Okay,
just
okay, so
that trip in general was just awesome,
okay.
and the event was awesome. Worst event that we've been to in the 300 episodes. The Esports Awards.
Oh, okay. So this is Tim once again. Here we
The
are.
yin
You
and the
see this
yang.
block, guys? If you don't know, if you're not watching live, this is yeah, we're 100% on point. Best event had to be BlizzCon with, I would say, like Overwatch League finals and Philly being a close second, like 1A, 1B
Oh
type
yeah.
scenario, because that was an amazing trip and adventure. And even though I got sick on that trip, it shows how much fun it still was, and also getting to go around the city and the sightseeing and all that fun stuff that we got to do. So I would say like 1A, 1B, but BlizzCon would be the A there. Yeah, Esports Awards, dude, that was the worst event I've been to for as a member of the media, I should say. That was the worst event that I've been to because we really got treated like secondhand citizens there, and I didn't appreciate that.
It
And we were
was
like thrown into a dark room to look over like hawks. Like it was so shitty, dude. I was
it was
like never. I would never go unless we're invited as nominees to whatever. I don't know what that would ever be. Content creators, podcast of the year. Who knows? I don't even know what words they have anymore. But unless we're there as something other than members of the media, I will not go to another esports award show. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm not gonna do it.
it
I'm
was
gonna be real. What I've learned from COVID is time is precious, and these outings that we get to do should be special and fun and enjoyable and like bring something back to the show. Some of them do that, some of them don't.
it
And
was
I'm
we I
making a
don't
checklist
and you
going
know
forward.
me, I hate leaving events early. I feel like as a media member, they're very kind to let us in there for free. They normally cater to us, you know, give media members foods and access, and they're very nice. So I hate leaving early. I feel like it's our job to say thank you and you know, see it out. You know I hate leaving early. We lasted to I think the third award, and we were like just looked at each other and we were like, yeah, I think we're ready to go. I think
Like, let's go do anything else. Like,
like you want to go
anything.
work out, like something.
Something we haven't done since 2004.
Yeah,
Let's
like I
go try
haven't
this.
ran in 10 years, but I feel like going on a run right now. It's better than this.
And
It
no,
was
that's no
just
knock on esports stadium. It's just,
no,
you know,
esports stadium is amazing. It's the
yeah,
like you said, it's just
it just wasn't a great experience for
it
us.
just
I'm
wasn't.
just
It
being
was
real. I'm not lying.
it
I'm
looked
not
like they
like,
almost forgot that they were having media members there.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to like be a dick. It's just,
it just
that's what it was.
no.
That's just the scenario we were thrown
And
into.
then even
But
for like
BlizzCon on the flip side really was the ultimate like event.
yeah,
Like that was just such a
Blizzard
fun
in general
event.
is very good about treating the media properly.
Even if I had
Almost
gone as
makes you
just as a
forget the whole
spectator
Hong
though.
Kong thing. You know,
Yeah,
like
outside
Hong
of, but even that made it like pretty damn special, right? Because that were
well,
all
yeah.
the riots that were going on outside at the time. Those were the biggest riots going on in America. That has changed significantly since that event, but that was that whole event was just like really something else. And I hope we get to experience more stuff like that because those are the ones that I will really look back on when we get to episode 400 and 500. Like those are the ones I'll continue to talk about and continue to remember because
Yeah.
um, they were, it was just a blast for the show. Like it was really just one of the coolest things we could have done. And hopefully the ones that people that didn't get to go that listen to those types of episodes, hopefully you guys feel like you're a part of it too in some way, right? I
Yep.
know it's not the same, but hopefully we bring back at least some of that enthusiasm from the trip, and get to share those memories and experiences with you guys. So we've
Favorite,
had a good run to 300.
yeah, favorite interview I think would have to be Pistola for me. I just thought
Ooh, a recent interview.
recent. I mean, you know, I'm kind of treating it more as recent just because I guess maybe it's more fresh in my mind. But Pistola to me, I'm a big I'm a Halo guy. I think it was just that was one of my better ones. He was also like a very talkative guy, right? Sometimes you do interviews, you don't know if they're going to be talkative, you don't know if they're going to be shy, or they're going to give you things to talk about. By the end of it, it was like we were just shooting the shit with him. So I felt like Pistola probably one of the better interviews if you need to go back and listen to one.
This is gonna be cheating, and you're not gonna probably like what I'm choosing here because I'm not gonna choose one. It's got for me. It probably has to be ESL Pro League. I think it was 2017 here in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I think it was ESL Pro League 2017. That whole weekend, we got so many awesome interviews. I mean, I'm talking about like Rops, Steel, Tarek, Twist, Nitro, Stewie. I don't know if I said Shocks already. Happy, Simple. Like I gotta have a conversation with Simple, and you know, just so many
You also got
people
turned
that were.
down by Simple.
And he came back.
You
Don't
had
you forget it.
you had that
He
awkward moment.
came
So
back, and he remembered that he
peel
shut
back
me
the
down
curtain
the
here.
first
So
time.
story time here. So since we're just shooting the breeze now for episode 300, story time. We were at the hotel that they were doing the event at for the group stages, and it was the elimination match between Navi and who were they at the time?
Uh,
SK.
yeah, I don't
It
remember.
was I don't know. It was MIBR's team at the time because Zeus was the coach, and or no, was he with Liquid? It
No,
was
Zeus
Liquid.
was with Liquid
It
at the
was
time.
Liquid at the time. It was just Zeus is who I was remembering, so I figured Brazilian. Okay, no, I corrected. Navi versus Liquid, elimination match. And before the match, we were supposed, or after the match, we were going to interview people. And Anuj and I pretty much said ahead of time, okay, you go get Simple, because you talked to him earlier. I'll go talk to Zeus, because I talked to him earlier. And it's just, whoever wins the match gets the more awkward whatever. Anuj approaches Simple like a lost puppy dog
Right
he
after the
just
loss.
gets eliminated. Simple just 30 seconds ago gets eliminated from the event. And Anuj is like, excuse me, Mr. Simple. And he just looks at Anuj and goes, not right now. And just walks away. and Anuj was like, what do I do? I'm like, he said, not right now. That's all you can do.
Finish the story. That's not how it ended, though.
I think it was the next day while we were at the stadium. Simple did seek you out in the media area and says, okay, I am ready.
I'm ready for this interview now. So that whole weekend, though, we were in such close proximity for so long at that hotel. Watching like the things that I remember from that event. It's almost not even the matches. It's watching the French team, which I don't know what team they were at the time, but I think it was G2 with Shocks, Kenny S,
Yeah, sounds
and
about right.
all those guys. Chain smoking, packs of cigarettes, and having a blast in the pool, like just swimming around. And this was back in my smoking days, unfortunately, and so that was my way to get in with these guys. I'm like, Tim, I'm gonna have to pull out a pack of cigarettes to
Though
go.
not bad. Like you really do bring cigarettes though to every event because you smoke. I don't. Even e-cigs, you do it. And it is such an easy like, all right, Anuj, I need you to risk your personal health to go out and smoke next to this pro who's also smoking and just spike up a conversation. It's like,
How many times did that work?
it does. It does.
was
Almost
great.
makes lung cancer worth it. No, it's always been, like I said, really every event's been fun. Esports Awards is the exception. That was not fun. I mean, hell, we didn't even do interviews there. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah. No.
it was
No.
terrible. It
But
was
we've had more good than bad,
of
so
course.
we can forget the bad and think about the good, because
I
there have
think the
been.
most, and it wasn't a bad event, but the worst experience was like the next week, the ECS finals that were going on. They were so far behind, so late. We were there for like 9 hours. Do you remember this?
On Thanksgiving
On
weekend.
Thanksgiving, we fell asleep on the couches at the esports arena outside the crowded area, fell asleep on the couch, and then after the match, because they were so far behind schedule, we sat there for 9 hours. After the match, the media relationship person goes up to us and goes, neither of the teams want to do interviews because it's so late and they have to catch a plane, so we're not going to do interviews. It was like, what? Like, I sat here for 9
That was a really good nap, though.
hours.
Those leather couches, I think, got removed because of you and me, because
Like,
they were gone the next time we went. Tim and I were laid out like, screw this. We're just gonna go sleep right here while we wait.
that was like the worst. I remember just driving home and my wife was like, so, did you get some good content? And I was like, no, got
Actually,
nothing.
we got nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. Could have had the better experience watching the game at home, but no, got nothing. So, all good times. And speaking of a good time, as we get into e-news, let's tell you about the new partnership, as Anuj teased it earlier, between us and our good friends over at Philly Esports. You've seen, I mean, we've had Adam on the show before, founder of Philly Esports. He's been on 2 or 3 times. And, we've talked about him plenty. He's in the Discord. If you're in our Discord, you've seen him. Ace Nelson, even on Twitter and everything like that. So we're starting this partnership up with them for the next foreseeable future, pretty much indefinitely. And they'll be kind of sponsoring e-news. It's really just an excuse for us to give them a shout out and update you on their latest events. So you can always check that out. They, despite the name, don't only operate in Philly anymore. So if you're online, right, one of the good things you can say thank you to COVID for is that they've now expanded into online events. So you can check that out at phillyesports.net and, join their mailing list, follow them on Twitter. If you're kind of in that up and coming time period of, you want, whether or not you're trying to go pro or just get the boys together to relive the glory days, right, Anuj? You can go and compete in their tournaments, right?
You get a chance to play and compete, something that TenZ no longer wants to do. So
yeah, do something that TenZ isn't doing and compete. So you can check that out. They do a number of variety of games. They've done Call of Duty, Warzone, and just standard, search and destroy 5v5 type games.
Rocket League,
4-on-4, Rocket League. I think they, if I remember Adam correctly, was talking about possibly getting into some CS, some Valorant down the road. And again, that's all online. You can check them out, phillyesports.net, Philly Esports on Twitter. Go to our Twitter as well. You'll be able to see the retweets and everything there. And so get all the information there. More importantly, Philly Esports is the reason Anuj was able to experience food poisoning while in Philadelphia on a billionaire's toilet as opposed to a public restroom at the stadium. So, if anything, we should give them support for that.
Can you imagine if that happened and I only had access to public restrooms in a stadium? Like how brutal that would have been.
For those who
I
don't know
like
the story,
to shit in public restrooms in general. Like that
Who
is
does?
just not
Who does?
my. Well, sorry, dude. I have some friends that doesn't matter where they do it. Just give them a toilet paper roll and they're good to go.
My body knows. My body,
Yeah.
Science is astonished by how my body knows not to use public restrooms. I can go days without using the restroom if I'm in the public. My body knows. But no, yeah, for those who don't know the story, real quick, and then we get into some e-news, Anuj got food poisoning. So I was in Philadelphia for the Overwatch League finals like a day or two before you. You showed up and immediately was like, something's not right. Something in my stomach it's not normal. We went and got Philly cheesesteaks because, you're in Philly. And then in the Uber ride back to the hotel, Anuj just looks at me and goes, this isn't good. like something's wrong. So instantly
Something's really wrong.
gets food poisoning for the rest of the trip. And we get invited up to the owner's box because Adam of Philly Esports knows some people who know some people and got us into the owner's box. Thank God, because you end up having food poisoning. Open bar, open buffet, food, like a good food that was just
A chef there cooking for us.
Everything. And you spent the entire day in the bathroom. In
a nice bathroom.
In an owner's restroom.
bathroom.
Right. So like owners of Philadelphia Flyers, everything like that. So
like a bidet and everything. You know?
It was much of a better upgrade than what would have been the public restroom at the Overwatch League Finals.
The first time I've gone on vacation and came back 8 pounds lighter.
It was, people were coming up to me and go, "Oh, Tim, man, yeah, I listened to the podcast. Great show. Where's the news?" He's around here.
He's getting interviews or something, working.
He's around here somewhere. I don't know. He'll be around. You'll see him. You'll see. Maybe not for long. Say hi when you can. You might have to
catch him when he has a moment.
Oh, man.
Good trip. Good trip.
Good times. Good times. All right. So let's get into some e-news brought to you by Philly Esports. In CS, Jack and Ho? Did I say that right?
You know, I'm glad that you went with it and didn't, like, usually this is where you pan over to me.
I almost thought about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you took that because sure, Jack and Ho.
Jack and Ho joins Fnatic in place of Flusha as they just dropped him for their 5th.
Bintet set to be.
I know that one. I was just taking
that's a good move, you know. So like, I mean, in the sense of, I know this guy is like an up and coming European player. So if you're trying to get younger, maybe you get ahead of it. We'll see what that turns into. I think it'll be fun to see somebody new in the scene instead of the revolving door we've kind of seen with Fnatic over the past couple of years, right? It's like somebody exits and then somebody comes back that hasn't been there, or Nip and them seem to like to swap players a lot. So nice to see somebody new. Bintet is set to be the 5th for the new Extremum roster. For those of you that don't know, that's the old 100 Thieves roster minus JKS. Interesting combination, but I kind of like it, and I'm excited to see what this group has in them with this roster. But I think it'll be fun to see.
And in Valorant, we did get an update. So obviously, Act 1's over, Act 2's here. So we did get a new agent, Yoru. Yeah,
some cool abilities. We'll see how he is in comp play. I think there's a chance for him to break into the meta with a couple of tweaks here and there. Right now, his abilities are like super loud when they're activated, so it's a little obvious when he's doing things that are supposed to be more sneaky like with his setup. I think Phoenix is still the better option right now, and you're not going to replace him for a Sentinel, but cool character, fun character to add into the game. We'll see how it's used. I think the best thing out of this patch, though, is the Brimstone buff, extending the times of his smokes, making some of his
bigger. The smokes are bigger.
Yeah, so I do like,
as someone who played Brimstone, I typically find myself playing Brimstone. The smokes, like, people don't realize, but like his smokes were so particular on like when you dropped it at an angle, and if you didn't get it just right, it could completely null and void the smoke, right? Because it
leaves that gap and it kills you.
You leave a gap and it's completely useless. So just increasing them a little bit, I think, is going to help the speed of Brimstone players. Like, you don't have to sit there and okay, I'm gonna line up my smoke just right. Okay, go. You can kind of more fling it at the doorway and kind of get going. So I definitely like that. Omen, a few tweaks.
Minor tweaks, really nothing, just increasing the cost of paranoia, and this will affect smoking. Like, his smokes, you can cast them anywhere on the map. They're a little bit slower to get there now, but generally, if you're smoking across the map, if you're having to rotate, not as, I don't think this will hurt him much, and I think paranoia's cost needed to probably be increased because it is such an overpowered move. But I'm glad they didn't nerf paranoia, because it does make for some of the best gameplay, or some of the best like playmaking ability in the game. Outside of that, like, not really very many major changes.
The best patch notes in the world is for Viper. No updates, but we want to let you know we're thinking about it.
But
I
that
love
is
that.
good though. Like, we flame that a little bit, but it is important for those who are like anticipating or waiting or asking that question, like, when are you going to do something? At least it's going to happen. It just didn't happen right now. Like, they weren't ready to push out whatever changes, or they're still trying to find a way to make the right changes. But I think that's also important to know, because it's hard to give them slack when we have so many other developers. Valve, I'm looking at you, who don't give a shit, right? Like, we don't know anything that's
Nothing.
going on. So I'll take it's about to happen versus nothing at all.
In other Valorant news here, Ghost picks up their roster as they signed Project, which was an Orgless. I mean, it's an Orgless team. They just used an Orgless type name there. Big name here is Dazzle coming over from CS.
Yeah.
It's a little surprised. I mean, I know some guys from Moon Raccoons have been picked up. They signed Profi, I believe it was, to Space Station Gaming. So they've been getting a little poached there. Kind of surprised though. Like, we're seeing guys get picked up. Moon Raccoons played well for First Strike. I don't know, maybe it was just one of those case of bad timing where, they the iron was struck hot and then we went on a holiday break. Like, maybe just
People forget quickly.
right. Poor timing on that part where it was like, okay, you performed well. Let's see if you could do it again. And then it was like, we have like a 2-month break. So kind of surprised, but we'll keep an eye out for that. Also, sidebar here for Valorant is Riot is going to supposedly start suing cheat developing companies for millions in damages.
I love it. Go after them.
I love
it. If you can do it, do it.
Now, I can't imagine that they're going to sue them and expecting to get millions of dollars. This is more about probably shutting them down than anything.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you can just drive them to bankruptcy by not paying, that's
I didn't know there was like cheap development
Yeah, I didn't know
companies.
either.
I thought it was like dudes in mom's basements creating this shit and then like throwing it online for people to use. So I didn't even realize that they were like
that's what they do.
Like, that's like their job.
As someone who
something.
works in fraud, it's not surprising because like there are legit companies out there that's what they also do is like fraud. Like, that's it. But hey, good on Riot for not only just, you have Riot who is going and finding these companies and then suing them, and then you have Activision that doesn't even have an anti-cheat system for Call of Duty.
I'm like happy I didn't buy the game, Tim.
I'm going to enjoy the shit out of Call of Duty League, but I am so happy we did not buy it.
Yeah, I know. It had nothing to do with the league. The league, I'm going to watch shit as much as I can of it, but happy I didn't make the investment because I'm tired of seeing all the posts of broken guns and hackers everywhere. Like, that doesn't sound appealing to me right now.
Speaking of Call of Duty League, the season has finally been announced. Boy, did they take their time on that.
The last minute on that one.
Yeah. February 11th through the 14th is the opening weekend. That is Valentine's Day weekend. So appreciate that. Kickoff Classic, though, it's like a fan-voted show matchy type of thing. That is January 23rd through the 24th. I don't believe it means anything other than a show match.
Just like fun matches. And look, guys, if you're ready for some COD, go watch those show matches because they're going to be hyper competitive. You got Dallas going up against NYSL, which is Clayster, making his return to, against Dallas. We have LA Thieves and Optic going head to head, and you want to talk about a fun rivalry that's getting kicked off like that. That's going to be great. So there's some good matches on these. The fans did a good job here.
Yeah.
So they picked some good teams to play against each other, and then Florida and Mutineers versus FaZe, like two teams that were pretty much there at the end. So.
Side note too is on our YouTube content creation side of it. Once the league starts, we are going to be doing a separate, shorter show, but more or less revolved around betting for the Call of Duty League. So check that out. Once we get it going, obviously we'll tweet it out and put it in Discord. But if you're a fan of betting and you're a fan of Call of Duty, we will be doing a quick little update each week for the coming matches and everything there for Call of Duty League. Also, if you are a fan of ranked play for Call of Duty, you're in luck because the developers have announced that ranked play is coming, but don't have a timetable for it yet.
This feels a little different than Riot talking about Viper. Okay, like this is not the same thing. Call of Duty is once again a complete joke. Like
the game's been out for 4 or 5 months. Everyone's been asking for ranked play since day one. You've said that it's going to have ranked play, and now you're still like, it's coming. Don't worry, it'll be there. When?
It's just, I mean, it's the same story. We'll get it a couple months before the game is dead, and usually it's dead by then because
there was no
you
ranked
kind
play.
of burnt yourself out. And
I'm putting my foot down, Anuj. I am not buying another Call of Duty game until ranked play is in there at launch. At least maybe
within
like
the first month.
Right.
Give it a month to do some balance changes, and sure, but this whole waiting 3, 4, 5 months before releasing ranked play and not having an anti-cheat system, like it's just enough for me to not give them my money.
Boundary. It's a new FPS. I've mentioned it once on the show, I believe. Anyways, it's going into a closed beta test for stress test this weekend. If you've registered, I believe you can still do that. Only 2,500 keys, though, are being released. So, and I don't even know if it's stream, like if they're allowing people to stream it. So you might be in luck. Hopefully not. You'd be ballsy as hell to make people stream a stress test. But this is a game, I don't know if you've really looked into it. So it's an FPS, but in space. In space.
Like we're on a spaceship, or like we're literally floating around?
Like zero gravity FPS style. Like you are an astronaut doing a spacewalk, but with a gun. It looks pretty. It looks cool. I'm interested. I don't know how much, like, people like fast-paced shooters and things for esports, I don't know how fast-paced you can be while in zero gravity. But, I am interested.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I said, they're literally now just doing their first public testing with this stress test this weekend. So obviously, probably a bit a ways before we have to worry about it. But, it's a new game on the horizon. So it's not, doesn't look like a copy paste job or anything like that from another game. It looks like generally a new game. In other news, Lucasfilm Games returns to be the official home of Star Wars, which I think EA's been the exclusive right holders to Star Wars games since Lucasfilms gave it up.
Like 5+ years now. It's been stuck with EA. Yeah, it's been a long time, and only 4 games were made over that time. And let's be real, like most of them were not very good. Squadrons has been a terrible release, I guess you could say. Might not be a terrible game, but there's been enough flaws where it's not touted as a good game, at least, right?
You and I both were so hyped for that game.
Do you remember the Battlefront 2 fiasco when they launched him, with how you would have to pay for upgrade boxes to get better cards to put on your character? I mean, like, it just hasn't been good in very much EA fashion. So this is a good win for Star Wars fans. Like if you're looking for a good Star Wars game, you were never going to get that from EA. It's just too many failed attempts.
Okay, like it's just there's been so much opportunity left on the cutting room floor because it's EA. Now this gives Lucasfilms the option to be like, okay, EA, you don't want to do this. Well, then we're going to go to Ubisoft to do an open world game. Don't know how confident I am in that either, but
yeah, for
at
sure.
least it,
Look, as long as it opens it up, like, look,
right.
Naughty Dog or somebody could come in and be like, hey, we want to make a game. We'll pay you for the rights to make a game. Like, there are plenty of good developers out there that are willing to make a good game.
Give me another Bounty Hunter.
Just profit off of.
Yeah, give me a Bounty Hunter game. That's what I want. Give me another one like from the GameCube.
Give me a little Mandalorian game.
Yeah. Anuj, can I paint this picture though for you? Okay. The year is 2021. Star Wars is now moving away from EA. We are getting an open world game from Ubisoft. So we are going to be living in a world. Our children will live in a world where we will have an open world Star Wars game and Harry Potter game.
The Harry Potter game got delayed also. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
It got announced today. It got delayed till
Oh.
2022.
Oh, you know what's funny
Yeah.
is I just looked it up the other day and it was like, oh, 2021, like fall. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah, just got delayed to 2022.
You know what though? After Cyberpunk, I guess I'm okay. Like,
Take your time.
after
You were right.
after we've seen what happened to Cyberpunk rushing it, after delaying it.
Stoked about the Harry Potter game though. Watching some of those clips, like that looks
Oh,
badass.
you know what?
If you're a
Maybe that's
Harry
for the
Potter
best.
fan, go check it out.
Let
It
us
looks
get-
incredible.
Let us truly get through WoW right now, because that might be the game that takes us away from WoW.
I mean, I'm definitely that'll be a single player game that I'm probably gonna get my wife to at least watch me
Yeah.
play if she doesn't want to play herself. So.
You and I are both. I mean, I think most people are. It's not like we're unique in this sense, but big Harry Potter people.
Yeah.
Big Harry Potter.
My wife
And-
was sad when I married her because her maiden name is Potter, so she was pretty upset
Yeah,
about losing
that does suck. You are an asshole for that.
Yeah,
But you know,
she legally changed her middle name now. to bring it back.
bringing it back. You know what's funny is I'm a late bloomer with Harry Potter, so never saw the movies until 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, no, never too late to join the group.
No, and I only read like 2 of the books before that too. So I was like really like I was like a Harry Potter like virgin, and then we were going to Universal Studios, as you know, and I was like, well, I mean, Harry Potter World's there. I gotta watch the movies, and then just. I think it honestly probably worked best for me because I got them all, and then I went to Harry Potter World. Like, I mean, it was just like a 1-2 punch. So
I already bought all the illustrated books for Hudson.
I'm reading the books right now. I'm on book 4. It's been about 3 years. So
Taking your time.
You know,
fun reads though.
I'm
They're good.
about a book a year kind of guy. So I'm on pace.
You're doing it right.
I'm on
Hey, as long as
pace.
you're enjoying it.
Yep. Outside of Harry Potter talk, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Grefg?
Sure. I
Streamer-
call him Greg.
Greg. Breaks live streaming records, 2.7 million viewers for his Fortnite creator skin reveal. There are times in my life, Anuj, where I'm like, I feel like I'm getting older because I don't get it. Right? Like when you're just like, I don't get it. I don't get youth.
Well, have you ever heard of him prior to this
No.
record? Yeah, I didn't know.
Never
Now,
heard of
granted,
him.
he's not a streamer we would watch. Yeah, I think he's a
He's
Brazilian
Spanish.
streamer, Spanish.
Yeah, he's Spanish, so that all right. I'm not gonna watch that because obviously I don't speak Spanish. But for him to break 2.7 million, I thought I would at least heard of him.
Yeah,
Never heard
yeah,
of him.
for sure.
He's got his own skin in Fortnite. Never heard of him.
I'm more impressed that Fortnite still has that kind of popularity with all the
Yeah.
pros that are quitting.
Now,
I mean,
the
I know we didn't
skin-
mention this in E-News, but like Zayat from NRG, like one of the best pro players for still active pro players, like still playing, just up and quit, and he's going into content creation. So I'm just surprised there was that kind of draw around a creator skin
The
coming
skin
out. But
looks
great
nothing
for
like
him.
him. The skin looks
Sorry?
nothing like him.
Oh yeah,
I mean, in my opinion, the Ninja one, I
yeah.
can at least see that and be like, oh, it's Ninja. This, I'm like, I mean,
well,
maybe.
you throw blue hair on anything and it's ninja. It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter, right? Like,
True.
I don't try that hard to look like ninja now.
Put blue hair on someone that weighs about 80 pounds.
Like 2.7 million, like
Oh,
almost
huge,
tripled
huge. Now,
like the previous record.
if I can just be a Debbie Downer, I don't trust viewer numbers for shit nowadays, though. I don't trust them for anything. But, you know, whatever.
Even if that's slightly off, he's still
It's still
shattered the
huge,
record.
right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he got like 1.5 million bots on his account, but
You think he hosted anybody after that? Can you imagine getting that host? It would like shut your OBS down.
I was gonna say it would kill the stream. Yeah, you know, good for him though. Good for
Yeah,
him.
that's crazy.
Still never heard of him, but good for him. Pakistan or Pakistan, as
Pakistan.
Pakistan. I was watching a documentary and someone was from Pakistan and they kept calling it Pakistan, and I was like, they would talk normal like me. And they're like, oh yeah, so it was a Marvel documentary. And they're like, yes, when I was younger, I just loved Spider-Man so much. And as a little girl from Pakistan, I was like, why are you saying it that way?
'Cause that's how it's pronounced, Tim.
But nothing else is pronounced different. I had a friend at work who did the same thing, and she was Spanish. So, hey, Tim, how are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go have some burritos. I'm like, what? Like, why? What's with this change of accent? Pakistan, to acknowledge esports as an official sport. So they're hyping on that bandwagon. Very cool.
We got one of the best FGC players over there.
Yeah, I always like making note of it just because I do think it's, and I do think Pakistan is a big enough country to make note of. You know, like that's, I would say, a pretty big deal. I would, you know, don't know why I wouldn't expect a
country. That's like any
to
sort
do
of
that,
incentive for like if what's his name, Arslan Ash.
Mm-hmm.
If he had any like, if was any involvement, would have been kind of cool to know like how this kind of came about. I'm really curious to like why the sudden acknowledgement. Was it just over time they had been discussing it, or was his fame part of it? Like that would be kind of cool to know the backstory behind this.
Yeah. I'm always, especially because like they're a big country, but not like huge in the sense of I could possibly see that being the case. So I don't know. I'll let you take this last one.
Yeah, and Method welcomes back Method, the Counter-Strike or World of Warcraft.
Wah, wah. Maybe I should have done it.
Organization. They welcome back two of their like former arena champions in Waz and I think it's Chas is how it's pronounced, but you know it's interesting because a lot of these guys have, I say a lot, there have been a handful of people that have made their return to Method because either they couldn't find another org because of the lack of interest in WoW esports as a whole, but you know, cool to see them making a comeback and hopefully doing it right. You know, I'm who am I to say nobody deserves a second chance? Like they made a terrible mistake. Hopefully they've learned from it, but they were an important part of building WoW esports. So if that brand can revitalize itself and do it in the right way and contribute to society in a positive way, you know, I'm all for that redemption story. And, you know, easy way to do that is get good players. And they were able to acquire two of the best arena players. So that's awesome. And
correct me if I'm wrong, arena season starts this weekend, correct?
Yes, I believe Arena is this weekend, and then Mythic Plus, I think, is next weekend. They're both coming up fairly soon, though. If you're interested in that stuff, WoW Arenas and Mythic Plus runs are going to be taking place here in the next week or two. And to clarify on that, because we are a multi-esports podcast in here, we don't cover just one sport. So I want to let all of our listeners who might not understand the naming of this, which is like the most confusing thing ever. It's the Arena World Championship starts. It is not the championship, though. They just it's like their league.
It's their
think of it as their league is
so
kicking
it's the
off.
Arena World Championship season 1 is starting for Shadowlands. It's very confused. Like you think, oh wow, it's already the World Championship going on. No. They just call it that. I guess if you call everything the Super Bowl, it all seems important, right?
But if you're into that, and if you're even just playing WoW and have never taken a moment to sit back and watch some of this stuff, watch how next level all these guys are, whether it's PvP or Mythic Plus runs. It's absolutely incredible at the level they're able to do it at. And so it is a fun watch if you enjoy WoW. If you don't, you know, you probably won't know what the hell's going on. But if you're playing, I encourage you to check it out, even if it's just for a few minutes, and give them some support.
Yep. So we'll watch that though for sure. All right. Well, that does it. That does it for episode 300. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much to everyone who listened, everyone who stopped by and chat. Philly Esports, again, for the crazy donation of $300 for 300 episodes. Very much appreciate it. And everyone else who just listened, right? Love you all the same. Check us out on Twitter at The Center Ring. If you're not doing so already, give it a follow. Like, share, retweet, whatever you got to do to make sure the good word of the Center Ring is passed around. Saturday night, community game night. Don't forget it. 9 p.m. Central. We'll be in the Discord. Let us know what you want to play. Right now, it looks like Valorant. I think that's what we're feeling at the moment. But that can always change. So hit us up.
Unless we all get into Boundary this weekend.
Unless we all of our listeners will get into Boundary. Then we can play that. That will be it. We are back Monday. Apart from my wife giving birth, maybe, I don't know. It's up in the air at this point. So we'll just keep an eye on Twitter. That's all.
Gonna have a fun guest for you guys on Monday. Again, keep
yeah.
an eye out. It'll be Ryan from Rush B Media joining us on Monday. So if you are a CS fan, definitely tune in. The guy knows everything there is to know about NACS.
There you have it, episode 300. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Love you. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya.